It has been a tiring off-season for F1's rising star, Buddy Simpson. But it was now time for him to head off to Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. Before he headed off to Melbourne, he went to see his dad. To remind everyone, Bobby Simpson is an IndyCar great who had visions of his son following in his footsteps, and he hates F1. So there was a lot of tension when Buddy decided to go on the F1 route, but he felt the need to visit him before the season got underway. Hey, Dad!
Hey, Buddy, I've been waiting for you. I see you've signed another year for Renault.
Yeah, I did, and you can't stop me, because I'm an F1 driver.
Oh my god, Buddy, I'm so proud of you. You're living the dream. Here, sign this contract, and this is an agreement that from now on, I will support your F1 exploits, and will no longer try to drag you onto the IndyCar route. Here, sign.
I thought you hated that I was in F1. You even started this whole Bobby Simpson racing thing, which was clearly so you could get me into IndyCar.
Nah, there are other drivers. Don't want to run a driver who doesn't want to race.
Okay then. Right, see ya.
Good luck in Melbourne. Excellent.
With the belief that his dad had taken an unbelievable change of heart, he was in an incredibly good mood as he jetted off to Melbourne for the Australian Grand Prix. After a strong off-season, Buddy was really confident as Formula 1 arrived in Melbourne. Renault had shown good pace compared to their midfield rivals, and Buddy felt confident he could win the midfield battle this season. But he has a lot of strong competition going into the season. For example, Haas have built a good car, Force India have a good car, but it's expected to be a lot closer between those three teams this season. But things didn't go all plain sailing in practice. In practice 1, this happened.
Your last lap time gives you P9. P9.
Buddy was not happy, and his sassiness really came out on the team radio.
What the was the Williams doing there? This is clearly exited into my path.
Buddy drove back to the pits, but he still wouldn't relent on his criticism of the Williams driver.
The in the Williams should be banned. Honestly, does he think he's better than anyone or what? Should be banned for life. What was that? Could have caused a massive crash.
Thankfully, the rest of practice was trouble-free. He even topped FP2, as everyone was focusing on their different programs. As quali got underway, though, things didn't go plain sailing.
What the honestly, what the honestly, what happened to the driving standards in the Windsor? People brake checking me on that.
Thankfully, the car was repairable, and he progressed to Q3, where he qualified in 6th, at the top of the midfield. A very pleasing result.
Okay, buddy, you're P6, that's P6. Great lap.
So, after a long off-season, it was now time for business as round 1, the Australian Grand Prix, was about to get underway. It was a dry day at Melbourne as race day beckoned. 20 degrees as the temperature said, with light cloud but no rain expected. It was going to be an interesting race with a lot of varying tyre strategy. There was a lot of anticipation as the season get underway. As the formalities pre-race took place, the tension was rising, particularly for Buddy, who continued to have a point to prove to his dad that a Simpson does belong in Formula 1. As far as the starting grid was concerned, it was the two Ferraris that locked out the front row, with Vettel leading Raikkonen, ahead of the two Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas, surprisingly ahead of Lewis Hamilton in third. Daniel Ricciardo lined up in fifth, ahead of Buddy Simpson in sixth, Kevin Magnussen in seventh, and Sergio Perez in eighth. Ahead of Leclerc, who got to Q3 on his debut, and Ocon. Grosjean qualified 11th, ahead of Simpson's teammate Sainz. Verstappen had a grid penalty, so lines up in 13th, ahead of Gasly, Alonso, Hartley, Van Dorn, Ericsson, Stroll, with Sergei Sorokin rounding out the grid. It was finally time as the cars lined up on the grid in Melbourne. Months of hard work was about to be put to the test. Buddy was in position to commence battle.
The rest of the grid is forming up. Be patient and watch for the lights.
The red lights came on. The lights went out. He got a reasonable launch, but was boxed in, which allowed the Haas of Kevin Magnussen through. But Buddy fought back. Buddy retook the 6th place that he'd lost. But the race was about to be neutralised as Pierre Gasly spun after contact with Verstappen and hit the wall. He got going, but there was a lot of debris on the track and the safety car was deployed. It remained out for 2 laps. As it was early, there was no need for any pit stop for the Renault driver. On lap 4, the safety car came in. But Buddy did not get the best of restarts. He touched the grass going into the final corner. He still, though, had a reasonable gap to Magnussen.
2.9 seconds.
Until he ran too deep into the first corner, and that left many cars swarming all over him. Thankfully for him, no one risked it down the inside into turn 3, and he kept his P6. Buddy maintained position until lap 12 as all the cars in front started to pit.
Be careful.
But he was starting to struggle.
Okay, buddy, we need 3 more laps on these tyres. Sorry, but these tyres are mate. I don't know how you expect me to keep Ocon behind driving on these.
However, Buddy was now really struggling, which made it clear that Renault needed to take action.
Okay, box, box, box. Careful of the speed limiter.
Buddy obliged. And pitted.
Release.
It was a reasonable stop. However, those who had pitted earlier had gotten the jump on Buddy. Buddy needed to get stuck in. He passed Verstappen, who had to back off for Ericsson, and then he got down the inside of Ericsson at turn 4.
Well on, buddy. Keep this going.
Buddy was enjoying life on those new super softs. He had such good traction, he was able to do the same thing to Leclerc. Buddy still had some work to do though to regain his 6th place, as both Force Indias and Magnussen had jumped him in the pit stops. Those guys were on a strategy of pitting earlier than Buddy, which meant the only way that Buddy was going to get back ahead of them was by overtaking them in the final stint on new tyres. On lap 37, he came in for his second pit stop. The Renault team received him.
Complete, go now.
A hindrance though was he had to change to the soft tyre as he didn't have any new sets of super soft or ultra soft left.
Look after these tyres now. You want to finish the race on this compound.
He exited behind Kevin Magnussen.
Okay, buddy, we need you to drive like an animal. Turn the engine up when you can. We have the pace to catch these guys ahead.
However, Buddy had been jumped by Verstappen. However, with Ricciardo out, P6 was still possible. On lap 40, he caught up with Kevin Magnussen. And with the use of DRS, he was easily able to pass the Haas for P8. Next on his hit list was Esteban Ocon, who he passed in similar fashion.
Nice job, buddy. We get P6 here. Come on!
Unfortunately though, it wasn't to be for Buddy. He wasn't able to catch up to Verstappen. However, he still finished in P7.
Great job, buddy. That's P7. P7. Yep, not the best strategy in the world, but we did it.
You did really well. Super driving.
So, it was a P7 finish for Buddy Simpson to start up the season. 6 points for himself and Renault, as well as an extra point that was gained by Sainz to gain Renault another point in the Constructors' Championship. So taking a look at the result then, it was Raikkonen who won the first race ahead of Hamilton in second. Taking a look at the rest of the result, there were 2 retirements in the form of Daniel Ricciardo, unfortunately at his home race. A driver's room is going to be broken today, and Pierre Gasly. But as the celebrations get underway in Melbourne, Buddy Simpson finishes in P7. As you can see, Ferrari celebrating their victory and seeing Kimi Raikkonen on the top step of the podium, touching the hearts of many in the crowd, as it's been so long.
And as the adrenaline dies down after another eventful Grand Prix,
So, as the podium celebrations kick off, Buddy leaves Australia in a reasonably good mood. He feels a bit annoyed that it wasn't P6, but who cares really? Still, a good way to start the year with a good haul of points. The question was, can he continue that momentum as Formula 1 heads to Bahrain?